Thanks for tuning into the market wrap. I'm Niraj Shah and we will be Nickey Mirchandani. And the markets have had a good day today. You have to admit that. We didn't start off all that great. But I think the end is looking very solid and 0.7% higher. So we are now in the territory from where we've typically receded in the past. Just that in today's session, we are at 11604. So right in between 11,550 to 11,650. And you have to credit autos and pharma for the same. So M&M has this big bang move today. I think autos by and large, there's Bajaj Auto, Tata Motors, etc., all of which did well. Selectively, pharma, the likes of Dr. Reddy's, in which there's some news that came out about how Russia's plans helping out with some vaccines. Maybe Nicky will talk about that. But that pocket had a good move, and we haven't seen steel participating in any fashion whatsoever. Not that there are heavyweights here. There is, if at all, JSW and Tata Steel, and those moving won't move the index too much. But you haven't quite seen the metal stocks performing off late, save for Hindalco in the session today. What didn't do well, Precious little, Bharti Infratel a little bit lower. Yesterday's top gainer, IndusInd Bank, corrected a little bit. But banks, by and large, still held out by virtue of what HDFC Bank did, right? So about a couple of percentage points higher, and therefore that was doing okay. The broader end of the spectrum, and that's interesting simply because in today's session too, a clutch of names again from the pharma pack in particular, from select chemical names, etc., which all did well in today's session, and which is why the market breadth remained positive. As you can see, 275 advancing to 222 declining. Now look at the gainers. JB Chemicals 8% higher, 970 rupees a share, so really good going for that one. Continued strength for Radico Khaitan, number 13 on the list there at about 469, 5.5% higher. Indoco Remedies, number 15 on that list there, up about 5.5%. And all the other stocks like Birlasoft, Indostar Capital Finance, etc., are all doing well too. So selectively, broader markets had a good rally. There were a couple of losers. Dish TV, after a long while, corrected a little bit. Blue Dart, after a long while, corrected a bit. And SAIL, despite all the optimism around steel, has continued to correct. So another 3.5% down in today's session. So those are a few disappointments. But by and large, I think the mood was positive. Nicky, what stood out in trade today, though? It was probably not as gung-ho as maybe Monday or Tuesday were, but still no complaints, I reckon.
Yeah, especially the last 1 hour of the trade when the vaccine news came out, some sense of euphoria there, especially for Dr. Reddy's, which rallied more than a 4.5% kind of open trade today. Russian sovereign wealth fund is expected to cooperate with the company on clinical trials and distribution of a vaccine against coronavirus. The Russian direct investment fund is going to be supplying in 100 million doses of COVID-19 to Dr. Reddy's. Delivery could be potentially, that they'll start in late 2020. The first result of these trials, phase 1, phase 2, are expected to be published in October, November. So good chances that this would also come in India by the end, maybe November, December, if the trials come through, especially the phase 3 trials. So some sense of euphoria on that development. But what also caught a lot of traction is Shree Cement in today's trade. I would not be surprised, Neeraj, if in the coming few days we see a strong rally coming in for cement stocks, something in the like of Ultratech Cement, ECC, Ambuja. Shree Cement obviously is a blue chip company, but then it does enjoy a premium valuation. But then, there was an HSBC report today which suggested that rural demand, the scenario there is better than what they were estimating. And with that, they've actually revised the FY21 demand projections. Now they estimate a degrowth of 14% as compared to a minus 17% that they were estimating earlier. Now, the cost tailwinds are receding for the sector, but nevertheless, some support is coming in form of demand scenario, which is less than, less worse than what the street was estimating, or for that matter, the channel checks suggested right at the start of the financial year. So on back of that, you have seen Shree Cement rallying, and in the coming few days, with as and when we complete the monsoon period, of course, the seasonally strong period also will begin for cement companies as a whole, because of which you can see some sort of traction building in for these stocks. Hindalco, as you just mentioned in your opening remarks, that counter was up in trade today, despite all the metal names being flat. But then Hindalco, there is a development which is brewing in for the company. Alris integration, which has been long spoken about, is underway. Duffel divestment is one last point of approval for Hindalco right now. If you talk about the downstream subsidiary Novelis, at this point of time, the can demand, which forms a major part of their business, that demands and the segment seems to be pretty resilient in face of the whole pandemic situation, because of which you're seeing that kind of momentum building in for Hindalco. And last in the list, I have JB Chemicals. Niraj, we spoke about it yesterday. And today also, I'd like to make a brief mention about it. It's the second consecutive session of rally and a smart move coming in from JB Chemicals, because the kind of results that we've seen, the margins have benefited due to the higher share of chronic products in India. The outperformance, as most of the brokerages, especially the one coming in from IFL Securities, they're saying that the outperformance from this company is expected to sustain in Indian market led by cardiac brands. So that's one bit of development which is auguring extremely well for JB Chemicals, because you're seeing that amount of outperformance coming in from that counter, actually, Niraj.
Yeah, well, pharma it is all the way, isn't it? Pharma, chemicals, to an extent, IT, those are the ones dominating the mood and trade right now. Nickey, thanks for that. It'll be interesting to see what the FI flows look like today, because if the flows are positive, typically the banking stocks tend to do well. Just get the global markets picture up once before we wrap this up, and they should come up on your screen. Well, the going is not all that bad. It's that all important Fed decision today, or rather, their outlook today, if you will. I don't know if they'll take any kind of major decisions today, but what the Fed says or doesn't say might have a big impact on what the US markets do today, and arguably what Asia and we do tomorrow. So do watch out. It's a pretty important evening today from a global markets perspective. We'll be, of course, keep you updated with stories, and do follow our Twitter handle for the updates that come in straight from the US once the Fed starts speaking or gives out its decision or lack of it. But for now, from Nickey and me and the team that has put this piece together, thank you so much for watching.